Give a warm welcome for director David Hartstein.
Thanks everybody for coming. It's a lot of fun. I also want to bring Kinky out. Kinky's here tonight, so.
Any questions from the audience? Okay, well, okay, we'll start right here.
Now that grassroots campaigning seems to be more hip than it was in 2006, what's 2010 look like?
I would say that the equation is Democrats plus independents equals victory. And the only reason the Democrats have lost, this is coming from one of my new gurus, Jim Hightower, who says, Jim says, that who if we run would be advisor to the campaign. Jim says that it's the grassroots that have been totally flat and have not been excited since Ann Richards' time. And that's why the Democrats have lost. And that's where I'm strong, in rural Texas, independent voters, grassroots folks. And I think I could bring those people over to the Democratic side, and I think that would do a lot of things. I mean, it would end corporate handouts. It would get rid of the death penalty. It would get rid of the tax test, and it would get rid of Rick Perry. And wonderful film. You know, watching it, I'm struck by the magic of. I mean, you captured something here that's very hard to articulate, but it was not caught by most of the media during the course of the campaign, I don't think. I think you got the very honest, big picture.
Well, thank you. I do also want to take a moment to acknowledge there's representatives from Chris Bell's campaign here tonight too. Jason Stanford, I know, is here. And it's brave of Kinky to expose himself to the movie, and everybody who's in the movie. I really do appreciate you granting us access. So thank you for that. Great job, guys. So any questions, just shout them out, and I'll have the first question, then I'll open up to you guys. Is there any official statements you want to make tonight, or what's the status of your candidacy in 2010?
I would just say that I was serious in that campaign. I'm serious now, and you can tell a lot about somebody by who their heroes are. And my heroes are people like Sam Rayburn, like Ralph W. Yarborough, like Ann Richards, Molly Ivins, and I think the closest thing we have had to a modern statesman, Barbara Jordan. And Barbara, you know, when she was young, she was a real cut-up in school. She was the smartest kid in the class, but she was a complete troublemaker and class clown. And her father was a very serious preacher, and his name was Ben Jordan. And Ben finally had enough of this. The teachers were reporting Barbara all the time. And he had a meeting with her, which she was sure was going to be fire and brimstone. But it wasn't. What Ben Jordan told Barbara was just one sentence, which was, "I'll stick with you just as far as you want to go, Barbara." And that touched her so much, it turned her around, and the rest really is truly history. And so that would, I think, be my message to the Democrats, which is, I'll stick with you just as far as you want to go. And if we stick together, we'll go very far indeed, and I think it'll be all the way to the governor's mansion. So we'll decide that in a couple of weeks, and till that time, I'll be wandering in the raw poetry of time. David, this is a touch very emotional.
I just showed up with the camera. I was a persistent son of a bitch, as I've been called, and here we are, really. I mean, I first got to Kinky, and there was another crew there too, and so I struck out to the other campaigns, and Jason and Chris were very gracious, and then I stuck around Kinky too, and I got what I could. So I think persistence.
You know who was really good at this thing was Jason Stanford and Laura Stromberg.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the Laura Stromberg story.
Phil Gower's here as well for that.
I don't think you have the line in here, though, about Laura saying that Kinky calls press conferences gigs. He's got to stop calling them gigs. He said, that's not good.
Well, I do think it is a story of supporters and staff as much as it is. Kinky's an entree into a larger story.
Well, first of all, he's asking what I run as a Democrat. I can't afford to be a Republican, okay? No one can. So it would be a run in the Democratic primary, no question about it. And what I have seen is that I think Texans in particular appreciate and respect someone who's been knocked down and gets back up to fight. And that would be the independent side. From the Democrats, I really think it's time to win. You know, it is time to win. And I meet young people all the time, and they say, God, you know, I just wish I was old enough when I was 18. I wish I was 18 so I could vote for you. And it's very nice, and I don't think there's a whole lot of young people. In fact, I've never met one that wants to be Rick Perry when they grow up. They just don't know. And I did like that thing we don't get into all that. This morality lecture that Rick Perry gave me during the debate was great. And it's taken me years for all this stuff to come back, but I realized at the same time as I was actually fighting segregation, I was actually working for integration, picketing these places. At that same time, Rick Perry was dusting off his pom-poms to run for cheerleader. You know? That's what he was doing. And that's all he's been doing. How do you combat the comical persona? I think I would just say that Ann Richards is probably one of the funniest people that I've ever known in my life. She was a great governor. I'll take my cues from Ann Richards. And also, Barbara Jordan did another thing. She said that any kind of personal attacks, if it's personal, never counterattack personally. Don't do that. Just put the person on your forgive and remember list, which I think is very wise. So it's a new day, it's a whole new start, and I'm wrestling with it right now. I do think that I need to be a little more serious, yes, and I think that I will. I think I'm a humorist, but these are not humorous times, and I know that.
If you're elected governor, would you name Willie Nelson to the Supreme Court?
Take that one under review. But going into the Democratic Party with lobbyists and so forth, I would say that from what I've seen, the Democratic Party has been transforming itself into, I would say, a more populist mode. Like the people I mentioned, they have something in common, these heroes. They stood up for the people against special interests and big corporations. That is why the Democrats have been, they so dominated the past century, because it was a people-oriented, a populist party. And it's becoming that again. I really think it is. And I think that President Obama has done a couple of great things just by being elected. You know, one of them was to create this really a spirit of psychological and spiritual change in our country. And Texas gets shortchanged. We still have the entire state run by one political party, the Republicans. And the other thing I think that Obama did was he convinced people your vote does count. It can count. You know, in 2006, I believe not only did we get 600,000 votes, almost, but I think there were millions of people out there who were just convinced that it didn't matter, their vote wouldn't count. And I think now they know different. Okay, yeah, what's it going to take to get the apathetic voters? I have a very, very good feeling about things. I think Rick and Kay Bailey Hutchison are, you know, I call that the battle of the cheerleaders, since they were both cheerleaders in college. But they have one thing in common, is they both believe dinosaurs were here 200 years ago. Okay? And frankly, they both are dinosaurs. They've been in politics so very long, so long, we will not get any new ideas out of them.
I struck out to all the campaigns and I took whatever I could get. Robert Black did send press releases to me occasionally, and I would go cover those events, and Strayhorn's folks too, and they let me put a mic on her, and I got whatever I could. Thank you. Thank you.